and welcome to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and our mission is to build a future where no one needs to come out anymore. Together, we can create a world where everyone has the right to love, to succeed, to have a family, and to live a full, happy life. Welcome back, everyone. Today, our guest is Deana. Welcome, Deana.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's so good to have you here.
Oh, no, I'm excited.
All right. Let's start with telling us, where do you live and what do you do?
I live in Seattle, Washington, and I am a police officer. That's my full-time job. Right now in that job, I am our community officer. So I'm out in the community. I'm basically the liaison between the police department and the community. I also am a part-time health coach. I live with my two amazing dogs, Jet and Becky.
Now that's really good. It's a little bit intimidating. We have this amazing, wonderful woman, and she's a police officer. Yay! And may I ask you, who do you help in your health coaching practice? Who do you work with?
Right now, I work with women who are looking to just make some changes in their life and live their truth. And also, I am creating a program for youth girl athletes for mindset coaching.
Wonderful. Thank you for doing that work. It's so much needed. In this space as well, we want to offer a platform to you to be inspired by others' stories and let them know that you have access to success and love and family, regardless of your gender identity or sexual orientation. So I'm curious, Deana, how much far back we need to go to find a moment when you find your gender identity that was different that people around you believe?
Well, I'm 43. I came out when I was 25, I believe. But going back, I mean, definitely can remember just little things in my life prior to that that were clues, or when I look hindsight were clues. And so I would say, high school, go back to, I remember vividly having a conversation, or not even a conversation. It was just me making a statement to my mom about, I don't fit in with guys and I don't fit in with girls. I had a good group of friends that we are still friends today. So it wasn't like I didn't have friends, but I just felt like I didn't fit in because my friends were really into boys and I was sort of too, but I don't know. It was just like this feeling that I didn't fit in.
So you are a teenager in high school and the experience is not fitting in with the boys or girls.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
Well, I just continued on with that life, having boyfriends and doing what my straight friends would do. Like, I didn't know there was any other option. I didn't totally understand what was happening, but I did. So when I was a senior in high school, I had a good friend who was a freshman, and she wasn't out, but she was definitely more curious about herself, kind of figuring those things out. I think may have experimented with other girls intimately. We were friends because we both played basketball, and none of my close friends played basketball. So I really friended this girl. We were good friends and we played basketball together, but she would write me letters. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? Love letters. I was intrigued by it, but at the same time, I was like, no, that's not where I'm at. We never really had any conversations about it, but it definitely was this person that I was drawn to. And I wasn't drawn to her physically. There was just something about her that I was drawn to. So, but I didn't really understand it at the time. Nor would have admitted it. I was very closed off in my feelings, and even my close friends at the time would say today that it took a really long time to get to know who I was because I didn't share who I was with other people. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That must be many teenagers' reality when they don't fully understand what's going on with them and they don't have the language. So they can explain what's happening, why they are drawn to a particular person, or even if they do, they might just deny what they feel because for whatever reason it's not allowed to have those feelings.
Oh.
Yep.
So, what was your experience from that point till later on? I think you said you were in college when you came out?
Yeah. Well, so to back up a little bit too, in high school, I became really religious. I became involved in Young Life, which is a youth, non-denominational, but it's really not. It's a Christian youth high school group, I guess, church group.
Okay.
And I became really involved in that. And that kind of, I don't know the right word, but it suppressed those feelings even more. What I learned is that it's a sin basically to be gay. And so that really played a huge part in my coming out later. So then in college, I still was straight. I dated boys. I dated a guy for most of my college years. And then it was a couple years after college that I came out. And that moment was I was playing basketball and there was a girl on the other team who I sort of knew from playing against her in college. And there was a moment where we touched hands because we like I don't remember if it was like we gave each other a five or we were like helping each other up or something like that where we touched. And I was like, whoa, like that was a very different feeling than I'd had in it. So from that moment forward, we started hanging out a lot. And I just moved to San Diego. So I didn't know anybody. I knew a few friends there. I was reaching out to get to know people. And so we started hanging out, and then that was my first girlfriend.
Thank you for sharing with us about your first girlfriend. So one could fall in love as simple as touch of a hand.
Yeah, yes, for sure.
That's so beautiful.
So how was it from there to come out to your friends and your family and your church family?
Yeah, it was really hard. So I was with my first girlfriend for about 4 years or so. And if you were to talk to her, we're friends today, but I put her through a lot. She had already dated a girl. Anyway, she had already kind of opened up to that. And it was very new for me. And I was going through the whole religious guilt. I felt like I was going to hell. I would wake up in the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep. I was really mean to her. I would say really mean things just because I was just hurting and not understanding.
Right.
So then it was coming out to my family. I came out to my mom first, and I can't remember how long we had been together, but like my mom had come to visit us and we would separate all our stuff. So we would separate into separate rooms. We would act like we were just roommates, and that was our story. And so it was really hard. We would fight when we were in that space because it was just put so much stress on us. And I would kind of ignore her to appease my mom and to like hide that piece of me. So when I came out to my mom, I wrote her a letter, and we went there for Christmas, and I left it for her. My mom is not a very open person either, and so we didn't really talk about it. She said, got it. She said, something along the lines of, well, I just want you to be happy, or something like that. But I didn't feel like it was in a positive way. It was
not happy, but accepting.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was an acceptance. She was just like acknowledging that she got the letter. And we didn't talk about it after that. So I don't remember when we talked about it again, but it was like I had to come out again because it was like so much time had passed that it just was awkward again. And I don't remember what happened. Yeah.
It must be really hard. And I appreciate you sharing as we have all the statistics telling us what is the process of coming out and what are the phases, and yet we learn from every story that each individual have their own process, their own journey.
Yeah.
So for you, when do you think you fully sink into your identity without the shame and guilt attached to it, and as a religious person?
I'm not quite sure. However, what comes to my mind and heart right now is I wasn't raised in like a religious family. My dad was more religious, but not my mom. But it wasn't really a part of my family's life. I came to it through friends, a friend's family. So at a fairly young age, like that was a big part of my life. But I never resonated with it. Like it was something that was fear based, and I was doing it based on fear. And I would say when I first moved to Seattle about 9 years ago, I started going to a church, and I tried many churches, but nothing really resonated with me. So I tried a church that as soon as I walked in there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. And I think that really truly is when I fully came to totally accept who I am as a person, is that journey, when that journey started. Not just the church, but it was when I was in that a relationship at that point in my life. It was the one I was talking about. It was towards the end of our relationship, and I was like, what is going on? Like, I'm the common denominator in my relationships, and they're not working. And what is happening? And that my ex-partner, at one point in our relationship, she asked me if I loved myself, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I had no idea what that even meant. And so when we broke up, I was on that journey to figure out what that even meant and what loving myself really meant for me. And so that is the journey. That's when it started, and that's when I fully accepted who I am.
Yeah, what a process to love yourself for who you are, because you knew who you were.
Yes.
And find the right place where you could express your spirituality and be at peace with your identity.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And there is the process that we are going through with all the changes. I mean, we are waking up as new people every morning, and we make an instant decision of what is it that we need to let go of and what are the parts that we need to keep in order to function. And then all of them being aligned with who we are.
Absolutely. And even, that the church that I was going to that really started my journey, I don't go to that church anymore. And there was a moment where I just kind of grew in it to a different place. But spirituality is now I know what I need to do to fulfill that. And so like you're saying, it changes, like, so that it's very different in my life, how it shows up and how I create it now. But it's definitely a huge part of my life.
Wonderful.
I love that, to recognize what is it that it's important for us and make sure that we don't leave that part behind.
Yeah, for sure.
So how is it like to know exactly who you are, to be a independent woman, a police officer, and health coach? How is life?
Well, life is amazing, and life it's just new. It's an adventure. And, it's hard, though, being a police officer and having this belief mindset of knowing that, oh gosh, I don't even know the words. So I'm in a space right now, too, where the law enforcement culture has been one where you kind of shut off your feelings. You have to compartmentalize. You have to compartmentalize because we see things that not the average human being sees. Well, the old thought is you can't connect to that. You have to put up walls in order to be able to deal with that. And go into those scenes and stay strong, But I've been to several trainings lately, health and wellness for first responders. And I know it's my calling and my mission right now also to reach out to the law enforcement family and world, because the culture has to change, because we're human beings. And because we see this trauma, it can be primary or secondary trauma. So much of our trauma is secondary because we're going in after the facts of after the trauma has actually happened, but we get it. We're human, so it has to affect us somehow. So we can't shut that off. We can't try to cover it up by whatever it could
Right.
drinking,
Right.
drugs. So I feel like it's my mission, and because of my health coaching background, I want to serve that community as well and
Right.
show them that can be different, because I used to be that. I used to be that person before law enforcement. So coming into law enforcement was great. I was great at it. I could go in to a scene and it didn't bother me, and then that doesn't work. So I want it to be a part of my journey now, is to reach out to the law enforcement family and show them, teach them what I have learned and change that culture.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. I think it's a very important and needed work. I mean, how one could expect to be fully present in this type of job and not be affected by what they experience.
Exactly.
And actually recognize that, and
how that might affect people around you.
Yeah, exactly.
Very important. Thank you for doing this work. And let me ask you, have you experienced any differences in your work because of your gender identity?
Yes. I haven't had any negative, acute incidents that I've had to deal with. But just in general, I mean, it's a male dominated profession. And so it's one that we as women, you have to prove yourself. You have to, but men have to prove themselves too in that profession. But at the same time, it's just, I mean, yes and no. Like, I haven't had any specific incidents where I can say that my gender has played a negative or oppressed.
That's really
good. We want to see more examples where gender identity has nothing to do with one's access to a successful career.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Right. So you get to be a woman, and you get to be a police officer, and you get to be a health coach, and you get to be gay, and you get to be stunning, and you get to be whatever the hell you want to be.
That's right.
I love
it. Yeah. Yeah.
So from that place, what you will say to the teenagers out there that they might be confused or denying their identities, probably having a experience similar with the one that you had, what you will say to them?
Yeah. What I would say is, it is that confusion is leading you somewhere, and to talk to people, talk to somebody that you trust, and really dig into what those feelings are, and everything's going to be okay. You know that learning what your body is telling you, and trusting that, and learning what it is when your body's telling you to do something and when it's telling you not to do something, and learning the difference.
That's very well said, Deana. Thank you. Beautiful advice. Look inside of you. Listen to your body.
Yes.
Regardless what people around you tell you.
Yeah, and being curious about it all.
To explore.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deana. In closing, is it anything that you might want to add?
Just thank you for doing the work that you're doing, and it's for me, it is much more special because you're a straight woman who has a child in the LGBT community, and you have that passion and desire for him to live this amazing life.
Thank you.
So I'm very thankful for what you're doing, and it just would mean so much for him to know that his mom is just supporting him and in that, to help him grow and help him understand that confusion. So I think it's amazing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deana, for your kind words. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And I hear you saying that it's special because I'm doing this work being a straight woman, and I know that is repetitive, and I probably say that in each episode, but I really believe that we need more people from outside of LGBTQ community to open our minds and our hearts for more acceptance and for love, really.
Exactly.
We all have the right to love, and it's not the right to love someone in particular, it's just the right to love.
Yeah. I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deana, for your time and for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
It's been such a pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to Redefine Family, a Spark Transformation podcast. We invite you to share your story, knowing that your story could change someone's life. Feel free to spread the love by sharing our message with others. We always like to hear from you at spark@redefinefamily.com. Always remember that you are the spark in your life. Just shine bright.